Going into 2025, these might have been one of the most anticipated releases of the year. Fast forward to the actual release date, and turns out these were a lot easier to get than people expected. And now you might be wondering, did you really need these? Did you buy them because you like them? Or did you just fall into the hype? We'll get into that in this video. I'll be reviewing the Jordan 4 SB Navy colorway and telling you whether these are worth the price. So these dropped rather unexpectedly on April the 16th for a retail price of $225 or 230 euros. And although the release methods were slightly different between the two regions, the basic idea was the same. It's a pretty new type of release method that some people are calling the wild supplies last method, which Nike has already been using in the States. However, it was the first time we've seen this in Europe. And basically this is how this release method works. A much higher percentage of people will get exclusive access to the shoe, and I put that in quotes. And the shoes will basically remain on the app until all of the sizes are sold out. In Europe, a lot of people got access to the shoe and they were still available on the sneakers app for a couple of hours until it eventually sold out. And in the US, this was done in a slightly different way. Eric Costin posted a link on his Instagram stories, which if you clicked on, it would redirect you to a special page on the sneakers app where you simply had to scratch this image, and that would give you exclusive access to the shoe. And based on what a lot of you guys told me over on Instagram, it seemed like a lot of you over in the US got W's on this. And by the way, that was the official release. There's not going to be another sneakers app release or like a raffle or draw or anything like that. This was the release. Unless of course a lot of people end up returning their pairs, which I guess then we might see another shock drop of the shoe. But what were your thoughts on the release method, this rather new release method from Nike? Leave a comment. Personally, I really liked it. Most of you guys watching this video will have at least more than one sneakers account, and it's pretty likely that at least one of your sneakers account was able to get exclusive access to the shoe. And in the US, pretty much if you click the link, you could have bought the shoe. So I thought it was a pretty fair release system from Nike, and I hope we'll see these types of releases in the future as well. The estimated stock on this pair was apparently around 160,000 pairs, which is more than double than the previous SB4s, the Pine Greens. And you can definitely see this currently on the resale prices. They're pretty much going for retail, which I can't say I expected. I thought these would be going for at least 50 to 100 over retail. It does say quite a lot, I feel, about the current sneaker landscape and sneaker preferences of people. But let's get into the review. So you get a special box here. This is the same box that we got on the previous pair. And getting into the shoes now, this is the second release of the Jordan 4 SB, and in my opinion, it's kind of strange that Jordan Brand waited 2 years for the second colorway of this pair to drop. But these, from a colorway point of view, there's really nothing bad you can say about this shoe. It's a color scheme that works really well. The white, navy, and gum, I mean, it's a bit of a standard colorway, but it's very clean, you can't deny. It's also a really versatile colorway. Back when the Pine Greens released, you can say that at the time, green was basically the hottest color in the sneaker world. Pretty much every combination of green and cream seemed to sell out no matter what type of model you put it on. It was the perfect 2023 colorway, but you could argue that this pair is more wearable than the Pine Greens. It's a really versatile pair. It's gonna go great with some blue denim, some khakis, shorts. I mean, this shoe is gonna work with pretty much anything, but at the same time, it's not really a shoe that's going to get you noticed. It's not gonna draw people's attention. I can't imagine someone looking at these and being like, oh, what are those? Because you know, it's a pretty basic colorway, let's be honest. Let's compare them with the military blues. Here are the shoes side by side. Do let me know in the comments which of these two colorways do you prefer. Of course, the military blues had a bit of like a grayish tint to it. It wasn't like a pure white like you see on this navy SB, and some of you guys might prefer that. I personally do like the military blue colorway a lot more, especially the blue mesh underneath the white cages. And the blue is of course a bit more vibrant than you have on the navy 4s. Of course, if you're talking about like comparing these two shoes in terms of quality, the quality on the SB4s is a lot better. I mean, it was almost a stretch to even call this leather that they used on the military 4s. So these have a better colorway in my opinion. opinion, objectively speaking, and these have better materials. The gum sole seems to be slightly different on the SB4s this time compared to the pine greens. I feel like the gum is just a lighter shade of brown this time, and I kind of wish they kept that same darker gum tone on this pair as well. And looking at the leather on this pair, so the leather is quite soft, however the leather doesn't seem to be as good as it was on the pine greens. This leather definitely has a very smooth finish, whereas the pines seem to have a little bit more texture on that leather. You get a rough suede on the mudguard on this pair, and that is mainly because the main purpose of the shoe is supposed to be for skateboarding reasons, and this rougher suede will just hold up a bit better, you know, if you're like kick flipping in these. What I do really like about the SB version of the Jordan 4s are these rubber wings, or these soft rubber wings that you don't normally get on Jordan 4s, and this was done with comfort in mind because you are, like I said, supposed to be skating in these. And this heel panel, you can see that very soft gummy heel you get this time. It makes me wonder why, if they did this in the name of comfort, why don't they just make all Jordan 4s like that? I know for some of you guys the heel tab can get a bit annoying when you're rocking 4s. Having a softer heel tab like this would be preferred. But now let's talk about sizing on this pair and also comfort. Everyone wants to know about that when it comes to the SB4s. I got this in my true size, a US 11. It's definitely the right size. And I did say the previous version, I felt like that was a more comfier version of a Jordan 4, and I stand with that. The main difference I feel is on the pinky toe area. I feel like there's slightly more padding between the side of the shoe and your pinky toes on the Jordan 4 SBs. Comparing them with the military 4s, for example, as soon as I put my feet in those shoes, I already start to feel a bit of pain. And I personally never wear those shoes if I know I'm going to be out for like more than half an hour. These are a lot more forgiving on those pinky toes, and they're more comfortable in that sense. But that's about it when it comes to comfort. I've seen some other reviews of this pair, and some of you guys talk about this shoe like it's made out of memory foam or something. Like, guys, it's not that comfortable. If you've worn any other brand, New Balance, Asics for example, it's like night and day difference, guys, in terms of comfort. Like, I wouldn't say this is like a good walking shoe or anything like that. It's still got a very flat, very firm cushioning. I don't notice anything too different there when compared to the regular 4s. This is still not going to be a shoe that I'm going to wear from walking long distances or for long periods of time, so I will say the comfort is slightly exaggerated. I know Jordan Brand has retooled the front of this shoe because they've gotten a lot of complaints from most of the fans of the brand. And by the way, it's not like that pinky toe problem is completely eliminated with this pair, so I will still feel it, but it's much less so, and it's definitely not an instantly uncomfortable feeling like some of the other Jordan 4s. Overall, I do think the Jordan 4 SB Navy is a great looking pair, although it's not a necessity by any means. Especially if you have a pair of military 4s or even the pine greens, I really don't think you need these. In terms of 4s, I still think these back here, the Nigel 4s, are probably the best looking pair to drop this year. And you could also choose to save your money on these and instead go for the white cement 4s, that OG colorway, which will be dropping in May. But of course, I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know, what do you guys think about the Jordan 4 SB Navy? Were you happy with this? It's really not a bad shoe, guys. It's a very clean shoe. If you like the original SB4s, you can't possibly like completely bash this one because it's a very identical shoe. So there's really nothing wrong with these. You will get a lot of use out of a pair like this in the spring and summer. Thank you so much for watching this video and for supporting this channel. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Make sure you're following me on Instagram. That is where I'm posting content pretty much daily on my stories. And the links to my sneaker podcast as well can be found in the description of this video. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.